We are officially in the middle of the work week. Consistency is the key. Lunch and news with me, DotSale, the undirected guy. Let's get into it, family. Yeah. We got a good show. We absolutely got a good show today. Some things we got to talk about. We're going to talk about the Young Boy situation, what's going on with his concerts. We're going to go into all of that. We're going to talk about breaking news, ICE agents fired upon. We'll see what the outcome was. But first off, I gotta say, how is everybody doing? How is your day going today? If you're in Minnesota, you know you're probably enjoying a very wonderful day. I'm in the studio right now. I could be out getting some fresh air right now, enjoying the weather while it's still good, because in Minnesota, like, I mean, eventually it's gonna be like negative 1,000 degrees, and it's gonna be snow and ice all over the ground, and we're not going to have the opportunity to just go out and be free. We're going to have to be restricted under large coats and mittens and cute little fluffy earmuffs and things like that. And so, we definitely appreciate warmer weather in Minnesota. And it's one of those things where, but it's weird because you look at it from, we all, depending on what quadrant you're in, I guess you can just break it up in fourths. And a little bit, might be a little overlap. But down in the lower part, like the Florida areas, down kind of, I guess it would be southeast. I mean, they're getting into hurricane season. They're getting into hurricane season down there. And sometime around this time of year, we always have some crazy hurricane, tropical storms, different things like that going on. So just kind of depending on where you live in the United States, you deal with different types of weather. Although they say California, it never rains out there, but they just got hit with an earthquake. So it's like, pick your poison. I don't really mind the cold as much as I used to when I first got to Minnesota, but I'm still not all the way used to it, and I don't think I ever will be. Might have something to do with my race. I don't know. But one thing I do know is we're about to have a great show, and we're about to get straight into getting y'all lunch, family, so then we can go ahead and get into the opening monologue. I'm still trying to figure out what story I want to go with first. I don't know if we're going to go with the Young Boy or the ICE first, but I'll think about that while we're getting our lunch prepared for today. And what do you think we're about to have? I got a good one for y'all. Peruvian. Lomo saltado. And we're gonna actually have, we can get a look at it here. It usually comes with fries. And this classic Peruvian stir-fry dish, and I'll just read it out, that blends Peruvian ingredients with Chinese cooking techniques. We're actually gonna watch this from a foreign YouTuber. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have to read the subtitles, which aren't very good. They don't translate very well into English. So we're going to go a little more visually. And if you speak the language, then, you'll be right at home watching it. And you can have this with plant-based meat if you'd like to. Plant-based protein, some people like to call it. And so you can absolutely go that route. There's plenty of options for plant-based beef and different things like that. So you don't have to have it with the actual beef in there. If you choose not to, you can pretty much have any of the dishes that we make can always be turned into a vegan dish. So we always got that. Let's get into this YouTuber. And actually, you know what? I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing his name. Victorino. I think I got that. Lomo Saltado. Okay, so he actually even spelled it in a different name, but his YouTube name, he's got 255,000 subscribers, is La Conina di Victorino. So I'll just spell it out for you. La, L-A, and then COCINA DEVICTORIANO. All right, so that's his YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to him. It's a 16-minute video. We're not gonna go nearly that long. We'll get through it in about 2 minutes, so I'm gonna be skipping ahead pretty quick.
Hacemos en nuestro trabajo, ¿no? Entonces, lo que vamos a hacer es hoy día nos toca hacer lomo saltado, ¿no? Lomo saltado a mi manera, ¿ok? Según lo que he aprendido durante tiempo, ¿ok? Lo que voy a usar un carne de res puede ser bistec y lo voy a cortar de este tamaño para mí, ¿ok? Acuérdense que este es a mi manera lo que hago lomo saltado, ¿ok? Mira,
so he's just gonna cut the meat up. Then he's gonna go ahead and get to the onions. We got red onions for this. We got red onions. So make sure they're red. Okay. Then we're gonna get to
voy a poner mis tomates de esta manera.
Tomates. He calls it tomates. We say tomatoes. He says tomates. We're learning Spanish as we go. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Donde voy a saltear
okay.
El lomo, creo.
Then we're gonna get to are those peppers? Where's Tira at?
Okay.
She's always happy when she sees peppers. If he pulls out a lime, I might just have to make a call. All right, let's see. So we got peppers. These jalapeno peppers. Okay.
Vamos a usar todo, ¿ah?
That's celery?
Esta partecita lo saco siempre aquí y yo lo mezclo aquí porque va a entrar. Ahí está nuestro culantro picadito.
Okay, we're getting all our vegetables. We always eat healthy over here. What is that?
Mix de lomo saltado. Es de lomo saltado a nuestro estilo, a mi manera, lo que fuera. Mire, este es media taza, ¿ok? Este es para
marinate half a cup. I don't know what that is.
3/4, ¿ok? 30% lo que decía.
I can't even see even the labels not in English, okay. So I can't even read the label.
Y el vinagre.
But we do things outside the box.
20% de vinagre.
Is that vinegar?
Okay. Entonces, ese es nuestro.
The people that cook, they know what's going on here.
Esa es nuestra medida para nuestro.
I don't know if he's a chef or a scientist. The way he mixing everything together, even his face is like, oh, what did I just create? Look at him. Hold on, watch this. He like, what am I creating over here, bro? He over here. Yo, shout out to him. Shout out to bro.
Rico.
Got great energy. He's got the fries. Now see, I gotta give him some pushback here. He got the frozen fries, and if you look in the back right there, he's got the bag of frozen fries just off in the background. Now I'm gonna say that I'm gonna need y'all to actually get some potatoes and cut the fries up. We're not using just frozen fries for this. We're gonna have to go with some actual potatoes. So he's gonna get a negative from me on that. All right. I'm not letting that slide. But then he goes outside. Okay. He's gonna cook the frozen fries in there, which we don't agree with.
Okay, mira, pasaron 4.
He skipped a step. He did all that intricate stuff. He mixing up all the different liquids together, but then he just pulls out a bag of frozen fries. This is crazy. I'm not letting him get away with it. Okay, we got all the ingredients. Like he put some type of sugar in there. Okay, we're gonna cook the meat up. That is cool. That is cool. When that flame starts to kick up, he loves doing this too. You can tell look at his face when the flame kicks up. We just gotta get him real quick. Look at that. He's having too much fun. This is something he enjoys.
Mira ese juguito, espesito. Okay, el punto. A mí me gusta eso, pero hay mucha gente que le gustan cocidos, okay?
And let's see the final product, and then you're gonna add rice to it. and then the fries are kind of all in there. And this just shows, like, do something that you love. Do something that you love. And what do y'all think about it? Like, lomo saltado, that's what we're having today. It's very, very healthy for the most part, actually. We're going to go ahead and get rid of those processed fries, and we're just going to go with some actual potatoes instead. And we're going to cook our fries that way because that's how we like to have our fries. If we can avoid eating them out of the frozen bag, then we're going to do that. All right. We got to get into the show. I was thinking about what I want to lead off with, and I think we're actually going to lead off with, we're going to go with the Young Boy story. We're going to lead off with Young Boy. Concerts canceled. We were going to go with the ice. When I was making the thumbnail, when I was putting the thumbnail together, and I was going through it, the ice was actually, and that's why that was in the title first. We were going to lead off with that, but I like the Young Boy story more to lead off with, so we're going to do it that way. And so I guess we'll get into the monologue now. And if you look at me, we'll take it off black and white. You can look at me right here, and I'm black. That's what most people will call me. Some people understand it as a negative connotation. If you want to look back in history and the way that us being called black to begin with, we were called different names and such. And it's a different topic that I don't really want to deep dive into overall. This is on surface level, but you can obviously see that, I grew up as a young foundational black American is what they call it. I was born in America as a black man. And, with that, when I was younger, now they didn't have this terminology back then. When I was younger, they didn't call us this. But now the young black Americans that are in the United States are often referred to as YNs. Young niggas. I'm just going to say it how it needs to be said, right? Moving on, we'll just call them young ninjas just to soften it up a bit. But, that's not necessarily how we move. We use things in context. I don't necessarily cuss that much or use profanity very often or curse words, however you want to describe it. It's just my vocabulary is a bit more expanded to be able to get off what I need to say without having to use derogatory terms very often. And they always say that the tongue is sharper than the sword. And, when you think about it from that standpoint, it makes sense. What I do want to say, though, is that growing up, like, if I was to grow up now and be, 13, 14, 15, any of those ages, and I was just to be seen by the majority, right, especially the way that we are labeled, they would probably refer to me as a YN just based off of my appearance. Now, when I was younger, I was always, I didn't grow up in any affluent neighborhood. I was in what you would call the hood, the ghetto. So I was there, right? And, I didn't put myself there, but that's where I was placed at. Now, I had a lot of choices that I could make when I was younger. I was like the way that I was raised, I didn't necessarily have to have a lot of structure in my life, right? I basically could do whatever I wanted to. That was just the situation I was in growing up. And I'm not going to get into all of it because it's a topic for another discussion. I'll just say that basically I created my own structure. Now, that's fine, right? Depending on how I handle that. Now, for me personally, I was in the streets, but not in the way that we're seeing more prevalently today, right? I was more like a hustler. I was never a violent person, right? I never liked to see violence. I never thought that murder and harming people and beating up people and just being horrifically violent and aggressive was actually a good thing. I never seen the benefit of it. I never understood. I always wanted to get to the money, but I never wanted to do it in a violent way. I never wanted to hurt people, which is the reason that, I never got into any hard drugs. I never used them, never sold them, ever. Nothing like that. I was more into the realm of like, you know what? Instead of selling drugs, let me sell t-shirts, right? Instead of drinking lean or selling lean, maybe I'll drink some lemonade or I'll open up a lemonade stand, right? maybe I'll buy and sell goods, right? Maybe I'll figure out a way where I can find cars that I can buy that people are selling. Like one of my things that I would do, and this is back when the internet was kind of getting established, sites like Craigslist were starting to really form, marketplace, different things like that to sell. But a lot of people weren't up on that. I've always been up on technology. I've always been really, really good with technology. And so one of the things that I would do is I would find people that were selling cars, right? And uh I'm not even an adult at this time, right? And people would sell cars, but what they would do is they would put like they put a sign in their car that says for sale, right? Now, I understood how the World Wide Web was developing and that I could use it to reach more eyes. So those people that had their car just sitting in a parking lot or sitting in front of their house with a for sale sign in it, they weren't getting a lot of eyes, just the people that passed by, right? And what I understood is that I can go there and negotiate with them much more and have much more leverage over the negotiation because I know that they don't have as many people giving them inquiries for their vehicles they'd like. Whereas I know if I can get this car online, I can get thousands of more eyes, which means that I can start to create more bidding wars for this vehicle. So what I would do is I'd find these people and I'd scour, through the neighborhood. I'd find somebody selling a vehicle and I would say, hey, mister, I see you got your car here for $2,000. And I would do my research before I got there and I'd see what the cars are going for online, see what the dealers are selling them for, the trade-in value, the private price value. And I would go to that person and I would say, hey, look, I got cash, right? And I'm hustling. I'm doing different things. I might be selling T-shirts. I might be selling chips. I might be mowing lawns, doing different things like that, odd jobs, right? Doing schoolwork, getting petty cash from my school, doing schoolwork and stuff like that, like volunteer work at school. Well, not volunteer because I got paid, but they didn't pay you much. But I was saving every dollar. It was all money in, like Nipsey Hussle. Now, for me, when I would finally get enough money to be able to buy a car that was $1,500, $2,000, Pontiac Grand Prix, Buick LeSabre, cars like that, Chevy Monte Carlo, older vehicles, Chevy Luminas, Corsicas, things like that. The Dodge Neon, terrible vehicle, but very popular for some reason, had a horrible transmission. I'd meet these people, usually older people or people that weren't really understanding what's going on with technology at that point in the web. And I bought a car from them at a price that I knew I could sell it for more online because I'd have more people interested. So I'd usually get the cars and be able to sell them almost at maybe like 50% more than I bought them from. So I'd, buy a Dodge Neon for $700. I'd put it online, post it for $1,700, and I'd let the offer start rolling in. And some people would lowball me and say, I'll give you $900 for it. Some people would say, I'll give you $13. And I would be very patient and wait until I got the best offer. And at that point, I would sell the vehicle. Now, I did this a lot, and I was able to build up a lot of money just doing things like that. Now, a lot of people would look at me and think that I got my money doing heinous crimes like robbing ladies, hitting them over the head, burglarizing homes, selling drugs, hard drugs, narcotics, and different things like that. But that was never the case. Just based off of my appearance, they would think so. So what happens is we continue to evolve, right? And now we have all of this social media that's going on, and we're seeing these violent acts happen on camera, and we're seeing where there's really not a lot of compassion from, a lot of these videos that we're seeing. Now, this isn't all young men. I think that there are different demographics of people that are still within the same subset. And I'm one of those examples because I was in the hood. I was around a lot of violence. I seen a lot of people get taken out right next to me. Same school, right? You got cliques, because we had cliques to the point where everybody was clicked up. It wasn't really like Bloods and Crips at that time. People just had cliques and they would name them and then they, beef with different sides of towns and stuff like that. So definitely a lot of violence, and a lot of people I grew up with are in prison. They have been violently murdered and different things like that. So I'm not estranged from any of the images that we're going to see from a young boy or anything like that. And I understand it. Now, also having kids, I have young black boys, you want to call them. And so I get it from that standpoint too. Now, I gave them many different perspectives, and, they are not violent individuals, never have been. And, I think that is a good thing. So it just shows that there are many young black kids and teenagers out here that are not participating in the violence and different things like that. And there's a way out for most of them. Now, the last thing on this is I often work with children, just working at high schools and different things like that and dealing with kids. I've been a basketball coach to many urban community rec centers and stuff when I was coaching my own kids and things like that. So I was able to show them a different perspective and give them a different outlook on the way that they can move and maneuver. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But, that small influence is always something that is going to stick with a kid. And hopefully it's for the best. Now, just moving along, I can significantly change my appearance, right? I mean, right now you see I'm wearing a hat over my head, right? And, I could pick my hair out and kind of look a little bit different. Obviously I can put on different type of gear, maybe not have the Jordan logo right here. I can do something like this where, maybe I'll even go here, right? Now, if somebody was to see me at this point, and although I wouldn't rob anybody in the street, I wouldn't do it personally, but if I wanted to, I could just go ahead and go like this. I could come out in the streets, and it's probably about like 82 degrees outside right now. And I could go out like this. Now, like we mentioned earlier, I'm in Minnesota, so it gets pretty cold. So wearing something like this doesn't necessarily, it actually makes sense, right? It actually makes sense. And I got the camo one right here. So, I can come out with the camo right here. We're going to talk about this a little bit later when we get into the ICE agents and the way that they're covering their face. And in California, they don't want them to be able to cover their face. But this right here will basically make me invisible in many ways as far as, you being able to identify me very easily. But you'll see this and you'll probably think, black dude, young criminal. Fair enough, based off of the small minority negativity that is associated with us and even the way that we can communicate. I mean, really, to be honest, like you can probably hear it in my voice at different times. I absolutely can speak in slang and ebonics and different things like that. Like I can talk like I'm straight, like I can talk like I'm a Compton Crip, and one of those things is you develop that as you grow up in these areas, right? So, as we go into looking at this young boy situation, I just want to preface that this is not something that is happening between all. And, I know we get kind of mixed up with that where it's like, yeah, but it still doesn't matter because one is enough to represent us all. I mean, fair enough. But if you have a point of view like that, I think you're completely skewed on the other side of it. And then, we got a problem at that point. Now, even for me, I'm very well aware of my surroundings. I understand different scenes that I understand the risks that come along with it. Because, hey, look, let's be honest. If you're in certain areas and situations, right, you can just really be a victim of just being in the crowd. You don't necessarily have to be involved in some things. It's the reason that they started to come up with the term stray bullet. And a lot of times, when you put yourself in these situations, you end up being a victim of it. Now, we're going to go into a couple of images real quick as we get into the young boy situation. His concert was canceled in Chicago just recently. He should be performing today, depending on when you're watching this. You might be watching a playback. I would always say you want to watch these live because even one of the videos I'm gonna show, I might have to pull down from the playback. It might not be on the playback. You can catch it live, but depending on how YouTube wants to react to it, I might have to pull it down off the playback and clip that part out. So I'm only gonna play the actual violent part once, and I think it's necessary to do because sometimes you have to see stuff to really understand what's going on. But we'll go through a couple of images of what's going on at this concert as we lead into the main video that is going to be sparking all of this crazy controversy. So we got Young Boy here. We got Young Boy here. And we'll kind of look a little bit at what he's got as far as his show setup, how he's got it staged. You know, looks like he's kind of creating a hood theme. It might even be a little horror-ish. We got some kind of like a graveyard going on in the back, old house. I mean, this could be a set for a horror movie as well. Absolutely could be a set for a horror movie. And you'll see the crowd there, very large crowds that Young Boy is pulling in. And it really goes into the influence of all this. And we do got to talk about influence because I'll be honest, us as Black people, we really are trendsetters and we can influence things in a positive direction or a negative direction. And it's probably really easy. I mean, and negativity spreads faster than positivity. It's much easier. You know, I was always a leader. So for me, like, you know, my crews always followed me. I never followed the crew. So I usually kept guys out of more trouble than they probably should have been in, just because I was very strategic in the way that I moved and I never wanted to see any of my friends get hurt. So I really steered them clear of being fools and violent for no reason, although a couple I couldn't help. Now we'll go here to this last image and see Young Boy in a casket. He's being lowered down on the stage before he begins his show, I'm assuming. And, you know, images like this absolutely start to sink into the heads of young, impressionable teens, and it can absolutely begin to influence the way that you act and move. So there's that. And NBA Young Boy is very influential. Let's just be honest. He can command a very big crowd. Actually, I think we can see it here. Let's just look at and hear how they chant for a Young Boy. Let's play it. So you see it right there. We got Young Boy, and this is kind of, you know, they're chanting his name, and also he's probably got like 40,000 people in this venue. Now we could go through, you know, there's been a lot of videos out here of his concerts and stuff like that. So if you want to look at that, you can just go and you'll see like how crazy they get. I'm not gonna play those videos just because they got his music in it, and you know, it's his music, it's his intellectual property. I'm not gonna play that on my channel, just out of respect for Young Boy and what he's got going on, and also copyright situations. However, if we continue to move on, we'll see, you know, some of the influence and the energy that Young Boy can create with the power that he has over these young minds. Now, we'll play this video right here, and we'll see Young Boy explain some things in his concert.
I'm saying, what the fuck wrong with y'all? I ain't happy with y'all. I ain't happy about it. This ain't that type of show. You too pretty for that. We ain't gonna do that. Hey, you do it again, you gonna get your face broken, this bitch, boy. Do it one more time. I saw you.
We'll repeat that.
Hey, you do it again, you gonna get your face broken, this bitch, boy. Do it one more time. I saw you. Hey, we gonna try it again. Say, shorty, man, I ain't gotta fight, man. Hey, don't do it no more, little boy, I'm telling you. Hey, come on, turn me up. Go to the next song, my dude.
He's gonna go into his so there, you know, he kind of is setting the tone to let people know, like, hey, you know, we ain't like in things like this. And although, you know, growing up with different artists and different influences, you know, we've had, you know, you can even go to guys that aren't, you know, you want to call it hood. You could say like a person like Eminem. Eminem said a lot of controversial things. He was talking about, you know, murdering his pregnant girlfriend and a lot about his mom, taking his mom's life and different things like that, and a lot of violent acts that he wouldn't commit. And, you know, we've grown up hearing things like this. Now, I'm always gonna put it on the end user. Could Young Boy probably, you know, calm down everybody a little bit? Yeah. If you ever seen if you ever seen Belly, watch the movie Belly. It stars DMX, R.I.P. DMX, and Nas. It stars DMX and Nas. Probably y'all have seen it. Maybe you haven't. If you haven't, it's called Belly, like stomach, like belly. Just watch it, and you'll understand what I'm saying with this part. X was basically he was a boss. He had two underlings that didn't necessarily like each other. And they were sitting at a table. X is sitting here. Two guys are sitting across from him. Just two young boys, you would call them. Young bulls. And they got into it. They both put their guns on the table after a disagreement. One of the kids looked over at X and he was like, I'll kill him right now. And he was waiting on X. X could have said, nah, don't do it to him. Don't do it to him. You know what X did? He said, pulled out. And that was it. That was it. Just off of X's head nod. That was it. But for me personally, and you got to think for yourself, you can't be influenced by a person like Young Boy to the point where you'll crash out. Because if you can't think for yourself, then you got a lot of issues going on. Now, we're going to get into the main video that is causing a lot of stir up. And I'll play this one time. We're going to see this old man and this young 14-year-old kid. I think the age discrepancy is somewhere within the realm of 50 years apart. The kid is 14 as far as we know. And the old man is probably somewhere in his 70s. Let's watch the video. I'm going to turn the sound down. We don't need the sound. Hear it a little bit. Yeah. So this old man, he made it through many years and may not have had something like this happen to him. And here he is at a point where now actually, you know, we're gonna let him speak for himself. But apparently, and this is what's being alleged, is all he said was, you're in the wrong seat, you need to move to your correct seat. And immediately, without any warning, the kid lost his mind and began to pummel him into the ground. All headshots. Knocked the sonic rings out the old man. Oh, let me turn my rings up. Now, we're going to hear from the old man. Then we got him right here. That's a visual of what he looked like after the fact. That's him. That's him. He's got a GoFundMe up. So more than likely, I haven't checked the GoFundMe. I actually just noticed it now up in the top left corner. But more than likely, he is going to get a lot of donations. We'll hear this news story.
I think that people should be able to go to T-Mobile or any other venue in the city, purchase a ticket, and enjoy their show. And it should not be interrupted by people who misbehave.
The T-Mobile Center employee on the receiving end of a brutal attack at T-Mobile Center at a concert Sunday shares his story with Fox 4 now. Kansas City police arrested a teenager for beating up a 66-year-old guest services employee.
But that teen has since been released during the police investigation. Fox 4's Malik Jackson live in downtown Kansas City outside T-Mobile Center where this all went down. Now, Malik, how's that employee doing? He says his injuries are both physical and psychological.
He does. Thomas Langley, a 17-year veteran guest services employee right here at the T-Mobile Center, but he still thinks it's important to share his story, and he's doing so first right here on Fox 4. We want to warn you that this video is hard to watch.
I mean, it is serious.
Wonder if I can find the GoFundMe.
Head blows to my head.
That is 66-year.
Anybody got the link to the GoFundMe? If you got the link to the GoFundMe, let's see where he's at right now. I'm gonna try to find it.
Thomas Langley describing the moments he's thrown on his back and repeatedly punched over and over again. And the only thing on his mind?
Just getting him off me. Because he was so enraged, so we were in essence trying to protect the fans.
This all happening Sunday at the NBA Young Boy concert. The teen was arrested but since released to his parents pending the completion of the investigation.
He was asked to move to another place because his ticket wasn't where he was sitting, and immediately he just completely lost it.
Pastor Robert McDaniel was at the concert. He witnessed this, and this is his video. We asked why he thought taking the video and sharing it is important. He says so as to illuminate what's going on.
But there's something going on in his heart that he needs to be fixed, and what that is his emotions. He needs to learn how to operate and work through and process through his emotions.
Did you ever think in your entire life, or at least the last 17 years where you've worked as an employee with the guest services at T-Mobile, did you ever think that you would be in a situation where you were so desperate, feeling as though you're fighting for your life?
No. The message is, as young adults or people growing into adulthood, we need to learn how to control our anger.
The mayor is also weighing in a statement. His office says that the mayor condemns violence in all forms, including in our entertainment spaces, concerts, sporting events, and community gatherings. They should be safe places of joy and connection, not fear or harm. As for Slangy, he will be meeting.
I got it. I got to go. I found it. I ain't gonna put it up on screen just because. But he's asking for $18K. He's got 501 donations. 10.3 thousand raised. 10.3 thousand raised. Yeah, it might not show very well on here. See if it'll focus in. You can see him right there. It ain't gonna focus in. Y'all believe me though. Oh, there it goes. It's gonna be backwards too. I can make it on backwards. It's right there. On backwards. Yeah. Yeah, he's at 10K. So I don't know. He said it's not life threatening. Looks like he's got a couple of cuts on his lip. Might need a little cosmetic surgery. So with that, you know what? I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. And the reason why is because I've been easily put in these same situations and I've never reacted like that. I've never been a violent individual, and I think you have to have a decent level of evilness inside of you to want to lash out like that. And it's not normal to want to. As human beings, we don't normally want to commit acts of violence like this, right? It's not normal, right? Especially unprovoked to a point where you're actually being threatened by someone. Now, me personally, I am an advocate for protecting yourself as far as self-defense. However, anything beyond that, I think, begins to get into tyrannical behavior. And, I'm not a fan of that personally. So would I lean more towards acts like this being the act of a devil? However you want to describe a devil, I just call it evil. But yeah, I think that is quite evil. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the old man, but honestly, you got to understand your surroundings. In a situation like that, as the old man, bruh, you're here, this is you're at the Young Boy concert, you see the area that you're in. I mean, honestly, it's probably better that you just stay out of that. They know what they got themselves into going to the Young Boy concert. The type of crowd that's there would very well likely steal your seat. So, knowing that you're going to that place, you might just want to steer clear of trying to confront anybody or get involved in those type of situations. This is not a Bruce Springsteen concert, or, name somebody, Phil Collins, where, it's going to be a lot less volatile, a lot less rowdy. So maybe you just want to steer clear of that. And that's a lot of things that we're not realizing as human beings, that we have to understand what's going on in our towns. Honestly, me rolling through certain parts of America, looking the way that I look, and I'm not talking about hood parts, I'm talking about rural areas, I'm gonna be a little more on cue, because I know I don't necessarily fit into those environments the way that the locals do. So obviously I'm gonna stand out, and there's no telling what they might do. I might be on the news hanging from a tree. Let's just be honest. They want to say it ain't nothing going on in other parts of in other communities, but trust me, it is. And you'd be a fool to think that it's not happening.
You're a racist.
Call me what you want, but you can't call me dumb or unaware or have a lack of common sense. That's what you can't call me. Now, moving on. Then we got one more. Did we got one more video? Oh, yeah. His mom spoke out. Let's see what his mom got to say.
Today I'm going to talk about the Chicago show. I know a lot of people, they upset because Chicago show was canceled.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Okay. It had nothing to do with Kentrell. My baby loved his fans. He was so ready to come out there and do his little dance or whatever. He was ready. It was y'all city. I think it was y'all, what it is, governor, mayor, whatever y'all have, whatever. It was them. It was the United Center, whatever. They canceled it, but it wasn't canceled, to hurt y'all. It was canceled to, to protect y'all. Kentrell is not coming to nobody's city to start mess or be mean or be messy. He's coming to y'all city, have fun. Y'all gonna listen to the music. Y'all gonna turn up. Y'all gonna have fun. He's up on a stage. So, what's going down in the audience really don't have nothing, to do with him. So they protecting y'all from people that might want to come there and start mess. Because a concert is not just about music and having fun. It's about music, having fun, seeing your favorite artists, and going home safe to your parents. It's about going home safe. It's about going home and saying how much fun you had. It's not about going home and saying, oh, they were shooting or fighting in the audience. Y'all getting ran over and trampled over. And you know what I'm saying? It's about keeping y'all safe. So don't ever think that we don't love Chicago fans. Don't ever think that y'all Chicago fans don't matter to my child, because all fans matter. We love everybody. If you from anywhere and you want love from me, you want love from my children, you're gonna get it. You see what I'm saying? So it's nothing about, nobody wanted to come there and none of that. They canceled it for the safety of the people that really wanted to attend, to keep y'all safe from the ones that don't know how to act.
Yeah, that's what his mom had to say. I hear you, Overdrive. I hear, and that's fair for you to say. You know, me personally, and another thing, kind of growing up in the hood, right? Like, we don't necessarily talk bad about, like, we'll crack jokes on each other, on our parents, right? Between each other, you know, your mom's so fat, she slipped, broke her ankle, and gravy poured out. You know, we'll throw jokes out there and stuff like that. But as far as talking about his mom, she's not the one that did anything. By the way, those two look a lot alike. He looks a lot like his mom. Like, this is my first time seeing his mom. You know, you throw the jewelry on and everything, like, they look exactly alike, honestly. So, you know, like mom, like son. You know, I'm not gonna say anything about his mom. Like, I don't know, like, whatever. Like, you know, she put herself out here on the internet to be critiqued. But again, this is mom. Like, it's just not how we move. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, whatever. She said what she said. I think her overall message, though, was cool because she was just kind of saying, like, look, he cares about the fans. I don't know if Young Boy has reached out and said anything, you know, in support of the guy that was beaten up at his concert, and he was a worker at his concert, so you would think, like, you know, without the workers, he can't even throw his show at all, right? If all the workers said, hey, yo, these shows are way too violent, way too crazy, we're not pulling up. The ushers, the security guards, the concessions, the parking staff. What else do we got? The janitors, the ones that got to clean it up afterwards. You know, if they all just say, you know, we're not pulling up to do his show anymore, then he wouldn't have a show, not at a venue like that at least. So, you know, you might want to, you know, reach out, probably throw something on his GoFundMe or something, help him out. I don't know. You think you're going to throw something? You think you're going to put out a statement to the old man? I think he's had enough time to do it. So that's what we got from his mom. Take it for what you want to take it for. And let's have a little fun before we leave this because it was kind of dark. Let's go here. Here's the Young Boy crew working with a kid over at the concert. This is a Young Boy fan. I believe he's in the concert because his shows are like all ages basically. They're all ages. So it looks like he takes his chain off, puts it on the young guy. He's in there in a YB bulletproof vest. I think the kid's a boxer. And let's watch this heartfelt interaction.
I spent it all on my YB.
Huh? So. Yeah. Hold on. How much you want, bro?
It don't matter, bro. I'm grateful, bro.
I fucked it. How old you is, bro?
I'm 12, bro.
You got a girlfriend?
Yeah.
What's your girlfriend name?
My girlfriend name
12, YB concert, got a girlfriend. Them all 20s?
Oh,
It's about 300.
let's do it. Tell me.
Lady gave him about 300.
No, I'm not gonna play.
Bro got a blunt in his hand.
I'm not gonna play.
Yeah.
Man, who been going for all that? Who your dad is? I ain't tell me about that.
bro.
All right, come on.
Slime, bro.
No, nigga, I make fools.
No. I can see you on YouTube, bro. On YouTube, bro. What's up, bro?
Get strong. I ain't been no more.
You got it.
And there you got it. And, you know, this kid's life can go in any direction. And it's going to be, you know, based off of the people that are around him for a lot of it. And then also just his own decisions that he's going to make. I grew up around a lot of people that smoked weed. I chose to never really smoke like that. I did at different points when I was younger. I thought it was lame. I thought it was terrible. I was an athlete too, though, just so I didn't want that to get in the way of that. This kid's a boxer. He's seeing everybody smoke weed around him. Doesn't seem like he was interested in the weed at all. He didn't say, yo, let me hit that. So, it looks like he can think for himself as far as that goes. So he can, make his life go in any direction that he wants. Kind of reminds me of situations that I've been in where it was like, I could have picked the bottle up. I didn't have to. A lot of my friends actually became coke addicts and different things like that. Drunks, losers in many, many ways. And, it didn't happen to me. So you can be in those situations and get out of them. But a lot of times when you're encapsulated in those type of environments, it's really going to just take a toll on you, and you're going to succumb to the peer pressure of it all and turn into that. But, if you look at it, though, these guys from a financial standpoint are quite successful. So, how do you really look at it, right? Do we got anything else? I don't know. Sexy Red trying to get with Young Boy. She made this post right here that isn't actually real. I believe this is AI, artificial intelligence, where she's saying, yo, let me have your baby. Now, the last part on this is NBA Young Boy has at least 13 kids. He's got at least 13 kids as of 2025. And he had his first kid at 16, so you can't be canceling Young Boy's concerts. He can't afford to have his concerts. He can't afford to have his concerts canceled, especially a huge venue like the United Center in Chicago. So y'all gonna have to get that fixed. I think there was some beef going on with him and Lil Durk and stuff and all that, and he got some diss songs, so I think that was part of it too. But what do y'all think about that whole Young Boy situation? I don't know, man. Me personally, I look at it a little bit differently. I know people probably want me to just outright condemn and start to begin to attack Young Boy and his entourage and everybody that follows him and that's influenced and all of that. And I could, but that's not really where I approach these type of situations from, because I don't really worry about things that I can't control. I really have no control over any of that type of stuff. I will say this, though. That would have never been my kids doing that. My kid is not beating up some old man at the United at a concert and gonna be captured on camera. And then, because the kid got released to his parents afterwards. So, afterwards, he wouldn't be the kid would have needed a GoFundMe after I got done with him. Because he'd have felt the same thing the old man got. Assuming the situation was as described. All he asked him to do was move out of the seat that wasn't his. It's ridiculous. That should never happen. And I wouldn't do it personally, and I wouldn't allow my children to do it. But then again, I would never tell a parent how to parent. I only lead by example. And some people follow, some people don't. But at the end of the day, we got what we got. And I'm just reporting on it. And I am DotSale. You know what? Let's get into the ICE situation real quick. We're gonna spend a little bit of time on this. Then we got to get into our positive story of the day, and then we're gonna get out of here. We'll go into the ICE story real quick, though. There's really not much to say about this because it pretty much already ended with the shooter taking his own existence. So it's pretty much over as far as this shooter. But you can see what we had here, and Cash Patel, FBI. Cash Patel, FBI. Say that. How am I trying to explain this? Cash Patel. He is he's the FBI director. Cash Patel is. And if you look here, I'll just go over it a little bit. I know y'all like when I read to y'all, so how about I read it and I try to do it fast? Let's check my reading skills out. Another thing I did in school was I absolutely learned the curriculum. I understood how important it was to be able to speak properly, understand what's going on, and be able to communicate effectively, and be able to communicate in different types of environments. and have proper decorum. So that is one thing that I am always cognizant of. This morning before 7 a.m. local time, an individual fired multiple rounds at a Dallas, Texas ICE facility, killing one, wounding several others before taking his own life. FBI, DHS, ATF are on the ground with Dallas PD and state authorities. While the investigation is ongoing, an initial review of the evidence shows an ideological motive behind this attack. See photo below. One of the unspent shell casings recovered was engraved with the phrase "anti-ICE." More updates will be forthcoming. He goes into a whole tirade right there, which, he can speak for himself on that. Okay, so yeah. And another thing, like it's hard for me because when I think about these things, like we don't read very well either. And I mean all youth. I don't mean YNs or black kids like you want to call them. I mean all kids don't read well. And I experience them all the time. And I'm not saying all kids, but I experience a lot of kids that can't read, and it's insane. So the teachers, y'all need to step it up, or the parents first, then teachers. Y'all need to stop teaching all this crazy stuff to the point where we got people out here trying to eliminate ICE agents because they've been indoctrinated. And then also the other side is like inflaming all of this stuff too and radicalizing, because I don't necessarily think you can be radicalized from one side. I think you need both sides to be radicalized. I think you need the one side to give you the battery in your back, but then you need the other side to be the hub to where the battery's placed. So both sides are inflaming both sides, and then we got situations like this.
The gunman opens fire at an ICE facility in Dallas. At least one person is dead, according to police, and we are live with the very latest. Welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Pamela Brown. Wolf Blitzer has the morning off. Opens fire at an ICE facility in Dallas, killing at least one person and wounding two others. Law enforcement officials tell CNN that at least two detainees were shot. According to the deputy director of ICE, no ICE officers were injured and were shot when this happened. Now, just to give you a little bit of context as to what the facility is, this Dallas ICE facility is generally a place used to process detainees. So they may be arrested by ICE, taken to this facility to be processed, where there are about 3 or 4 holding cells. So generally there are a few dozen people at the facility before they are then transferred to a detention center. Now, we still do not know the motive of this shooter. We'll hopefully learn more about that in the forthcoming presser. But what we do know from Homeland Security officials is that no ICE agents were shot or hurt during this incident. That's what they have said so far. But they are also highlighting that there have been increased assaults, attacks, and threats on ICE personnel.
And so you're seeing this violence, and I mean, just over the last couple of weeks, we got so many different reports we can talk about as far as the violence that's going on, and it's kind of crazy. For me personally, like I'm not really, like, oh, you know what? I don't like ICE, I don't like law enforcement and all of that. From a standpoint of the humans that are doing the job, right? Now, they did give incentive to the ICE agents. I believe Trump gave incentive to the ICE agents. If you have student loan debt, right, and you want to get that forgiven, become an ICE agent. And we will forgive your student loan debt if you work for us. What was it, like 2 years or something like that? 2 or 3 years? We'll forgive your student loan debt. So, again, you're inflaming different sides, right, with different types of comments that you put out there and incentives and all those different types of things to really irritate people. And I think a lot of this is simple. Like, most of the time you just follow the law and you'll be good. Sometimes we'll get caught in situations where we're doing the right thing and we will still be framed or accused of things that we didn't do. And, for me, I've experienced that personally. I have. I've been a person of interest when I had no type of, I wasn't involved at all, and I was proven innocent. And I just want to say this last thing. This is for a lot of black people, and I think it was a crazy number. It was like in the 70 percentile that black people specifically they had their crimes, like they were originally convicted, but then had their crimes overturned. It was like in like the 70% range or something like that. Of all the criminals, it's usually black people that have their crimes overturned because they're a lot of times falsely accused of crimes they didn't do and tried and convicted. And then later on, evidence comes out to prove that they weren't the criminal. And that happens to black people more than any other race in the United States specifically. And so that has to tell you something, right? Something you got to consider. All right. We're going to move on from this. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Just had to cover it a little bit. This is news. We cover the news here. We cover the news here. And we do it from a different perspective than most people do. We think for ourselves over here. We don't group think. You know, we're family. We move differently. And that's why I appreciate y'all and why y'all are the best audience on the internet. And with that, I want to go over to a group of kids that did something incredible for, we just got done talking about ICE. We're going to go over to a group of kids that did something for an immigrant, a legal immigrant, did something spectacular for him. I'm just going to let the story play because this one was incredible when I got a chance to see it. So it was definitely something I had to share with y'all so we can end our day on a positive note because that's very important.
Very special gift.
It hit him out of the blue. Francis Aproku, custodian at James Madison High School in Vienna, Virginia, says he was walking through a parking lot earlier this month when he saw something that literally brought him to his knees.
My leg started shaking. I can't stand. I was panicking, and I have to get myself on the floor, and I was crying.
You're crying?
Yeah.
Hey guys, get him up. He's okay. Laid out, flat on the pavement, crying. Tears of joy.
Just look at that scene right there. He can't believe it. He can't believe it. He never thought that something like this would happen for him. And the crazy part about it is who did it for him.
The trail of these happy tears starts here with a group of sophomore football players. The boys used to chat with Francis outside their weight room.
These are my people.
Eventually, those conversations led to friendships.
May God bless you guys all.
I just want to show the picture right here and just understand that we can see past color, we can see past race, we can see past ethnicities, and start to begin that and start to understand that, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter what you look like, it's who you are inside. It's who you are inside, that's it. That's what matters. Who you are inside, your soul, your energy that you emit, right? That is the most important thing.
With students like Bennett Hishman, Nick Tiberthopoulos, and Logan Georgeless.
He's always just such a nice person. If we were to have a bad day, he'd be the first guy to be like, hey, are you okay, you know? And we're like, I mean, let's do something nice for him. No one else is going to.
And that's when they asked Francis, if you could have one splurge, what would you buy?
I said, what? Why do you want to know?
Did you answer their question?
Yeah.
What'd you tell them?
I told them that my heart desire is a Jeep Wrangler.
A Jeep Wrangler?
Yes. That's why I'm trying to work hard.
Hey, shout to bro, man. He definitely didn't go small. He definitely didn't go small. He said, I need a Jeep Wrangler, bro. I mean, them can cost a lot or a little bit depending on the year. Let's see which one he got, though.
Francis sends money to his relatives in Ghana. He's squeezed, for cash. Getting that car was nothing but a pipe dream. So the boys started a fundraising campaign. All on their own they did this. And within just 4 months, they'd raised $22,000. Enough for a nice 2015 Jeep Wrangler.
Ooh, that Jeep clean too, bro. Shout out to the kids, bro. Damn. They ain't even got a car that nice. They just now starting to get their licenses and all that, and they gonna be driving probably like a Honda Civic or something, 2005, maybe a TSX or something like that. Their parents gonna try to get them something, or they might even have to work for it, working at the ice cream shop after school. They put a fundraiser together and hooked up, bro.
Francis was so surprised to see those wheels, he started rolling.
That's your car, man. That's your car. That's your car. It got a little to the point where it was like, is he okay? Making sure he's okay, and we helped him up.
And then we finally got him in the car, and he's just in disbelief.
It was incredible.
I will never, ever forget today.
Not because of the car, he says, but because of the kids.
I can't believe this in America. Only America.
Only in America.
America is a great country. May God bless America.
And God bless the Jeep Wrangler.
Exactly, you got it.
This guy here doesn't take any of this serious. He actually, like, having a comeback like that, I don't know. It sounds a bit disingenuous to me personally, but I'll take it at face value. God bless the Jeep Wrangler. Man, family, like, I don't know, seeing videos like this, they do something to me because it's tough for me because, we do see a lot of these violent acts happening and all of this debauchery and these terrible things going on. But then you see stories like this, and that's why I always give you this balance, because I want you to understand that this is not necessarily the world that we live in on average. It's not normal for people to commit these acts of violence that we're seeing. These people are people that have wires crossed and that are just completely evil most of the time, because they're doing it, I don't want to say necessarily always unprovoked, but with no outcome that is going to be beneficial in the end, right? The reason that you're doing it doesn't help anything, right? So for me, it's like, what's the reason then? You're not gaining a financial incentive from it. What, you shouldn't murder for finances, although we see it all the time in war. But my thing is just like, what is the point? And, seeing a story like this absolutely just lets me know that there are great pockets of people within this world, and we have to focus more on them. But we have to also watch a lot of these different situations, because we have to be aware of our surroundings, because it's the good people that usually end up the ones that get clipped first. And I don't want that to happen to y'all, family. I want y'all to be aware and understand that there's evilness walking around you at all times, all right? At all times. But there are also good kids and good human beings like the two we just seen. And that's how we're going to end the day. And I appreciate y'all, family. We got another one in the books. I love doing this with y'all. How was lunch? I thought it was good. I don't ever get to enjoy it while I'm doing this stream. I usually have mine after the stream. So I'm about to go have mine now. You like how I think? Yeah, it's a little bit different for me. Like, I definitely have a different perspective on things. A lot of people don't really necessarily probably agree with me, but I'm not trying to please everybody. I'm out of here. Peace.